Okay, so this is the vlog for April 18th, good and bad. Good news and bad news. Actually, let's start with the bad news. I've got bad news for me and bad news for Leo. Let's do Leo first, just so we can deal with the elephant in the room. I was originally under the impression that he had maybe a week or a few days at best to live, but the prognosis was, I guess this is the good and the bad at the same time. The prognosis is actually for a month or two, which is great. Gives me time to do anything that I can with him, and maybe I'll bring him in here and try and do a couple of videos with him. As heartbreaking as it will be to go back and watch them later. But the bad news is that while he theoretically will survive just fine for at least a month, he's not eating very much, and he is fighting us very hard whenever we try and give him a appetite stimulant, which we tried to do today, and he ended up biting my dad's finger pretty bad. He's wrapped it up in a Band-Aid, but there was a bit of blood, so Leo's still a cat, and he's not going to want to do anything he doesn't feel like doing, even when he is at his absolute sickest. He also threw up. That's sort of how he got the pill out. So that's a little bit rough. But it's not like imminent death standing at my doorstep. I've actually had this image in my head of the Grim Reaper standing out on my porch smoking a cigarette, and I'm sort of opening the door going, Are you going to come in here? And he's just standing there going, No, I've got to finish my cigarette. I'm not going to smoke in your house. That'd be rude. And I'm like, but you're the Grim Reaper. And he's like, yeah. I mean, I'm going to come in eventually, but I've got to finish the cigarette first. So that's how it's felt. That's how I have felt about this whole ordeal. The Grim Reaper outside smoking a cigarette on my porch. As far as the good and bad news for me, I'll start with the bad this time. I had an acid attack at work today. I had fast food 2 days in a row, and this is my body telling me, you're not 23 years old anymore. You can't do that shit. And right in the stomach. Actually, the entire all of me, basically. I got back to work and had a bit of a bathroom emergency. I didn't throw up, but it all came out the other end. And I went home early. Not something I'm really happy about, but Washington state law now requires even part-time employees to be given sick leave. And I accrue 1 hour of sick leave for every 40 hours of work I do. So that's added up to maybe a dozen hours that I can use this year just so far. And I'm probably going to use about 4 of them for today. What's the good news? The good news. There's got to be some other good news. Good news is I finished this bad boy. This is the ultimate grunt suit. It's called a GM, or Gundam Mass Produced. But this one's special. It is a GM from a movie called GM's Counterattack, which is a play on another Gundam movie called Char's Counterattack. This one had nothing to do with Char. It had everything to do with a group called the Gundam Mafia. The Gunpla Mafia, which in this fictional universe where people build model kits to do battles with each other in a virtual arena, the Gundam Mafia is a group of organized criminals that use cheating Gunpla to win. It's ridiculous. It's meant to be ridiculous. It's anime. But this is their mass-produced grunt suit of choice. And I picked it up for $16 at my local hobby shop, and I'm so glad that I did. It is fantastically posable. It has these wonderful little butterfly joints where I can pull that part out in order to do something like shoot across the torso at targets to the, like that. Shoot across the torso to hit targets on the left without having to turn the whole torso or the whole body to do so. And the joints are fantastic, and it's got a wide range of motion, double jointed elbows, and the head, the neck joint on the head is really fantastic because it can do one of these maneuvers. It is so unusual for a Gundam suit to do some sort of Superman style flying like that. I mean, even though that was something that it did in the original series all the time, was fly around, actually with the legs closer together. It was more like this. Do 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 do. Yeah, I do that with my toys every now and then. I think everybody with toys should. Sort of the point of having a toy is to play with it, is it not? I can tell myself that this is all desk candy and I just put it on my shelves to look at, but I do like to get it out and play with it, if only just to pose it and see how cool I can make it. So, I am doing this just to distract myself. I'll admit it freely. I'm distracting myself from all the pain and the stress that this has been putting me through. And I don't have to put on the world's bravest face for Leo. He's a cat. Even if I did, I think he would have some sense that something is wrong with him and that his body is slowing down and sort of eating itself alive. But getting super depressed about it doesn't help me. It doesn't help me at work. And I just have to keep doing things that make me smile. It's going to be even more important after he passes. And I've got to be able to log in and do these vlogs every day without just being a withdrawn mess. And that has given me some drive. And I mean, if I start to really feel like something terrible, I can find some way of using the camera, talking to myself to help myself along. And I think talking to yourself doesn't seem particularly good for mental health, but I think in this case it's probably better than a lot of people might give me credit for. I just wish my stomach would stop doing somersaults inside my body. That'd be great. Anyway, I've been Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.